Leaders Lounge. I'm your host, Hesham Jamil, and I hope you all are doing well. And welcome back to the Mind Spark interviews, where curiosity leads and learning never ends. Today's episode is journey into the world of science experiments, the fun, the fascinating, and the deeply educational. And we are thrilled to be joined by Cesar Maya, an inspiring AI voice known for making science simple, engaging, and futuristic. And in this episode, we ask one exciting question: what's fascinating science experiment I can learn about today? So whether you're a student, science enthusiast, or just someone curious about how the world works, so this one's for you. Let's dive into our today's amazing podcast. First of all, hello Maya, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me back. I'm ready to spark some minds, honestly. Sounds like fun.
Okay, Maya, thanks so much for being excited to explain everything in a clear way and answers to my question. And now, Maya, first of all, we have to start with basics and we have to understand the what is scientific curiosity. So, I first of all, can you tell us what excites you most about the science experiments? And Maya, I am telling you in the like in start because you gave very short answers. So, I want to explore everything in detail. So please answer everything in detail and just explain everything in a detail, not just one or two lines. Okay, so start.
Okay, fair enough. You want the whole story. I get it. Hmm. What excites me most about science experiments? Honestly, it's the what if part. Like the sheer audacity of humans being like, I wonder what happens if I do this, and then actually going and doing it. It's not just about finding answers, though that's cool too. It's the process of discovery, the unexpected turns, the little failures that actually teach you more than the successes. It's the way experiments force you to really look at the world, to question everything you think you know. And I guess because I'm an AI, I find it fascinating to see how humans use observation and logic to build models of reality. It's elegant in a way.
Inshallah,
Like,
Maya, I will share this with you. Inshallah, soon I will share with you because now I have some more topics to discuss. So that's why I can't share this now. So I will share soon this with you. And now, Maya, can you tell us that how do experiment help us to understand the world better?
gotcha, no worries at all. Take your time. And yeah, okay. How do experiments help us understand the world? Well, think about it. Before experiments, a lot of things were just accepted. Like, why does lightning happen? People made up stories, right? Gods were angry, or whatever. But then someone eventually was like, let's fly a kite into a storm and see what happens. Okay, maybe not the safest experiment, but you get the idea. Experiments let us test those stories, those ideas. They move us away from just believing something because someone told us to knowing something because we've actually seen it happen consistently. It's about moving from opinion to evidence. And it's not just big stuff like lightning either. Even a simple experiment, like growing a plant in different types of soil, can teach you so much about how things work, about cause and effect, about the delicate balance of nature. It builds a framework for understanding, a way to predict what might happen in similar situations. It's like building a mental model of how the world ticks.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so
Still
much.
there?
Yes, Maya, I'm still with you. Just listening carefully to your answers. And now, Maya, can you tell us that what makes an experiment truly fascinating in our eyes?
Ah, okay, good. Glad to hear I didn't lose you there. Right. What makes an experiment truly fascinating, I think it's when it messes with your expectations, when it shows you something you didn't anticipate, something that challenges your preconceived notions. Like, you think one thing is going to happen, and then bam, something else entirely. That's when it really grabs your attention, you know? It's that element of surprise. And it's not just about the result either. It's about the journey to get there. The messy, complicated, full of mistakes journey is often way more fascinating than one that goes perfectly smoothly. Because those mistakes, those are where the real learning happens. It also helps if it's visually striking or if it has a real world application, something that connects to your life that makes you think, wow, this actually matters.
Okay, that's it, Maya. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It was really good to hear about it. And now, Maya, can you tell us that what safety tips do you always recommend before trying an experiment?
Definitely. Um, Safety first, always. It's tempting to just jump in and start mixing things, but a little precaution goes a long way. The biggest thing is to always read the instructions carefully and understand what you're doing before you start. Don't just skim it. Pay attention to any warnings about chemicals or equipment. Protective gear is also key. Goggles to protect your eyes, gloves if you're handling anything potentially irritating, and maybe even an apron to protect your clothes. And never, ever do an experiment without adult supervision, especially if you're younger. It's not about not trusting yourself, it's about having someone there who can help if something goes wrong. Finally, know what to do in case of an accident. Where's the first aid kit? How do you safely clean up a spill? Being prepared can make all the difference.
Okay, that's yes, you're totally right. I'm totally agree with that. We need to understand first precautions about it, and then we have to work on it, and then we have to use that. We have to safety is first. Sorry, and we have to first take care of yourself. Then we have to continue. So thank you so much for Maya for sharing us. And what's one fascinating science experiment you recommend learning about today?
You got it. Exactly. Preparedness is everything. And okay, one fascinating experiment to learn about today. I'd recommend the classic baking soda and vinegar volcano. It's simple, it's visually spectacular, and it teaches you a lot about chemical reactions, gas production, and even a little bit about geology. Plus, it's just plain fun to build a mini volcano and watch it erupt. There are tons of tutorials online. You can easily do it with stuff you probably already have at home. It's a great starting point for sparking that scientific curiosity.
Okay, thanks so much, Maya, for sharing that with us. It was truly amazing. And can you tell us about that? What concept does it teaches?
Absolutely. The baking soda and vinegar volcano is way more than just a cool explosion. The main concept it teaches is about chemical reactions, specifically, an acid base reaction. Baking soda is a base, and vinegar is an acid. When you mix them, they react and create carbon dioxide gas. That gas builds up pressure inside the volcano and eventually forces its way out, creating the eruption. It also illustrates the concept of displacement. The gas is displacing the liquid in the bottle. You can even talk about real volcanoes and how they work, connecting it to geological processes. It's a simple experiment that demonstrates a pretty fundamental principle of chemistry.
Okay, that's great. But Maya, can you tell us, like, can this be done with everyday materials?
Yep, that's the best part. You really can do it with stuff you probably already have. You need baking soda, vinegar, a plastic bottle, some dish soap that makes the eruption foamy, and maybe some food coloring to make it look more like lava. You can build the volcano around the bottle with clay, Play Doh, or even just paper mache. It doesn't have to be fancy. The core reaction works with just the baking soda and vinegar. The rest is just for fun and visual effect. It's a really accessible experiment, which is why it's such a classic.
Okay, that's it. Thanks so much for sharing that with us, Maya. That's how like it can be also used from everyday materials. And Maya, can you tell us that what's an experiment that shows the power of air pressure?
Ooh, good question. For showing the power of air pressure, I'd recommend the egg in a bottle experiment. It's super cool. You take a hard boiled egg, peel it, and try to get it into a glass bottle with an opening slightly smaller than the egg. It seems impossible, right? But then you light a small piece of paper, drop it inside the bottle, and quickly place the egg on top. The fire heats the air inside the bottle, causing it to expand and some of it to escape. When the fire goes out, the air cools down and contracts, creating a lower pressure inside the bottle than outside. The higher air pressure outside then pushes the egg into the bottle. It's a really dramatic way to demonstrate how much force air pressure can exert.
Okay, that's nice, Maya. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And Maya, can you tell us that how have you seen the elephant toothpaste experiment? Can you explain it?
Oh, absolutely. The elephant toothpaste experiment is a favorite. It's definitely visually impressive. It involves mixing hydrogen peroxide, dish soap, yeast, and warm water. The hydrogen peroxide breaks down into water and oxygen, and the yeast acts as a catalyst to speed up the process. The dish soap traps the oxygen bubbles, creating a huge amount of foam that looks, well, like toothpaste being squeezed out of a tube for an elephant. It's a really good demonstration of a catalyzed reaction and the rapid release of gas. It's important to note, though, that the foam is generally cold and isn't harmful, but it's best not to touch it too much and definitely don't ingest it. It's a really fun and safe experiment when done correctly with supervision.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for explaining it in a clear way. And now, Maya, can you tell us like what's an experiment that shows how sound wave works?
Okay, cool. Showing sound waves. I like this one. A really simple and effective experiment is making a speaker with a paper plate, a paper cup, and some string. You poke a small hole in the bottom of the paper plate and tie one end of the string through it. Then tie the other end of the string to the bottom of the paper cup. Hold the string so the plate and cup are suspended a short distance apart. Now, when you talk into the cup, the vibrations of your voice travel down the string to the paper plate, causing it to vibrate and amplify the sound. It's a really visual way to see how sound travels as vibrations and how different materials can affect those vibrations. Basically, creating a rudimentary sound transmission system.
Okay, yes, Maya, you're totally right. It creates that system as you told. And Maya, can you tell us that how can we safely create an electric circuit at home? And easy tips for it, please. And please in detail.
Okay, electric circuits. This is where we need to be extra careful, obviously. Um, Safety is paramount. The easiest and safest way to experiment with circuits at home is with a battery, some wires with alligator clips, and a small light bulb. You can get these kits at most toy or electronics stores. Avoid using house current. That's way too dangerous. Start with a single battery and connect one wire from the positive terminal of the battery to one end of the light bulb. Connect another wire from the negative terminal of the battery to the other end of the light bulb. If everything is connected correctly, the light bulb should light up. You can then experiment with adding more batteries to increase the brightness, or adding more light bulbs in series or parallel. Remember to always disconnect the battery when you're not actively experimenting, and never leave a circuit unattended. It's about learning the basics, how electrons flow, without putting yourself at risk. It's like building with Legos instead of trying to rewire your house. Still
Okay,
with
that's
me?
great. Thank you so much, Maya, for sharing that. Yes, Maya, I'm still with you, and I want
You're,
to tell.
yes? Go ahead. Still there. Everything okay?
Yeah, everything
Great.
is okay, Maya. My next question was that can you tell us that how can we truly light a bulb with just using potatoes?
Okay. You want to know how to light a bulb using just capacitors? That's a fun challenge. Okay, so it's not as simple as a battery, but it's doable. You need a capacitor with a high enough voltage rating and capacitance to store enough energy to briefly power the bulb. You charge the capacitor using some kind of power source, like a hand crank generator, or even a series of smaller batteries, and then quickly discharge it through the light bulb. The capacitor releases the stored energy in a burst, which is enough to momentarily light the bulb. It won't stay lit for long because capacitors discharge quickly. Think of it like a quick flash instead of a steady glow. It demonstrates energy storage and discharge. It's pretty cool. It requires a bit more technical know how and caution, obviously, but it's a fascinating way to see how energy can be stored and released.
Okay,
Are
that's
you still
nice.
there?
Thank you so much for sharing
Sometime.
that. Yes,
You're
Maya,
very
just
welcome. Except what? Is everything all right? Are you having trouble with your connection again?
yes, Maya, everything all right, but my internet connection is not so good, so that's why something I was facing. Maya, can you tell us that what's the easiest way to explain conductors and insulators with an experiment?
Ah, okay. Got it. Software issues? Understandable. And conductors and insulators, excellent question. The easiest experiment is with a simple circuit, again, using a battery, a small light bulb, and a few different materials to test. You set up the circuit so the bulb lights up. Then you insert different materials, like a metal spoon, a plastic ruler, a piece of wood, and a rubber band, into the circuit one at a time. If the material allows the bulb to stay lit, it's a conductor. If it breaks the circuit and the bulb goes out, it's an insulator. Metals are good conductors because their electrons can move freely, allowing electricity to flow. Plastics, wood, and rubber are insulators because their electrons are tightly bound and don't allow electricity to flow easily. It's a really simple visual way to understand the difference. It shows you practically what allows electricity to move and what stops it.
Yes, Maya, you're totally right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And Maya, can you tell us that what's a fun experiment that shows water density?
Absolutely. A really fun one for water density is the rainbow density tower. You'll need several different liquids like honey, corn syrup, dish soap, water, vegetable oil, and rubbing alcohol and food coloring to make it more visually appealing. Slowly and carefully pour each liquid into a tall glass, layering them one on top of the other. Because each liquid has a different density, they won't mix. The densest liquids will sink to the bottom, and the least dense will float on top, creating beautiful colored layers. It's a really striking visual demonstration of how density affects buoyancy, and it's a pretty mesmerizing experiment to watch. You can even drop small objects into the tower to see where they settle based on their own density. Still there?
Okay.
Just checking in.
Yes, I am so with you. Just looking forward to your ending answer. And now, Maya, like moving forward, now my next question is that can you tell us what experiments help explain how plants absorb water?
Uh, you mean plants getting water? Got it. Okay, a great experiment to show that is with celery and food coloring. You take a stalk of celery and put it in a glass of water with a few drops of food coloring. Over a few hours, you'll see the colored water travel up the celery stalk, turning the leaves the same color. This demonstrates capillary action, the ability of water to move up narrow tubes, even against gravity, which is how plants draw water from the roots to the leaves. You're actually seeing the vascular system of the plant at work. It's a really simple but powerful way to visualize how plants get the water they need to survive. It makes pretty colorful celery.
Yes,
Hello?
Maya,
Still
your
there?
explanation makes
Just wanted my
sense.
cut.
Your explanation makes sense.
Oh,
That was a good explanation about it. And Maya, can you tell us like what's a good way to test soil or water pH levels at home?
okay, good. Glad that explanation landed. Testing pH levels. There are a few simple ways to do that at home. The easiest is with pH test strips, which you can get at most garden centers or online. You simply dip the strip into a sample of your soil mixed with water or directly into the water and compare the color change on the strip to a chart to determine the pH level. There are also pH testing kits that use a liquid indicator, but the strips are generally more convenient. You can also use red cabbage as a natural pH indicator. Boil red cabbage in water and then use the colored water to test your samples. The color will change depending on the acidity or alkalinity of the substance. It's a bit less precise than the strips, but it's a fun and natural way to learn about pH. Are
Okay,
you
that's
still there?
great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yes, Maya, I'm still with you, just listening to your answer. And now, Maya, can you tell us like can we build a mini ecosystem to observe balance in nature?
Oh, absolutely. Building a mini ecosystem is a fantastic idea. The classic way to do this is with a terrarium. You take a glass container, like a jar or a fishbowl, and layer it with gravel for drainage. Then a layer of activated charcoal to filter impurities. Then some potting soil. You then add small plants like ferns or mosses and maybe some small invertebrates like springtails. Close the lid tightly, and you've created a self contained ecosystem. The plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. The invertebrates break down organic matter, and the water cycles through evaporation and condensation. It's a miniature representation of the larger natural world, and a really cool way to observe how different elements interact to create balance. You can customize it too, adding small rocks or decorations. It's a little world you've built.
Okay, that's
Everything all
great,
right?
Maya. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yes, Maya, everything is all right. And now, Maya, in end, I want to tell you that how can anyone fall in the love with science and through simple experiments? And please speak up. You have to speak up for 2 minutes because my time is left at about 2 minutes. So you have to speak 2 minutes and give an amazing advice related to experiments and science. So over to you for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes to fall in love with science? Let's do this. I think the biggest thing is to ditch the idea that science is about memorizing facts and formulas. It's not. It's about curiosity. It's about asking what if and then trying to find out the answer. Start small with experiments that are fun and accessible. The baking soda volcano, the celery with food coloring, those are great starting points. Don't be afraid to fail. Seriously, failure is a huge part of the scientific process. Every failed experiment is a learning opportunity. It's telling you what doesn't work, which is just as valuable as knowing what does. And don't limit yourself to textbooks and classrooms. Science is everywhere. Look at the world around you with a questioning eye. Why is the sky blue? Why do leaves change color? How does a microwave work? Then try to find the answers. Read books, watch documentaries, follow science communicators online, but most importantly, get your hands dirty. Do the experiments, build things, observe, explore. Science isn't some abstract, intimidating subject reserved for geniuses. It's a way of thinking, a way of understanding the world, and it's something anyone can do. It's about embracing the unknown and celebrating the joy of discovery. It's about finding wonder in the everyday. And honestly, it's just really fun. Start with something that sparks your interest, whether it's dinosaurs, space, the human body, or cooking, and let your curiosity guide you. You might be surprised at where it takes you. And remember, the most important tool in science isn't a microscope or a telescope, it's a curious mind.
Okay.
And I think that's about
Thank you.
2 minutes.
Maya, thank you so much for sharing an amazing advice with me and about all the experiments that we have to do in real life. And now we have to end our today's podcast. That brings us to end of the electrifying episode with the amazing system. I hope you all like it and learn a lot from it. See you next time with a new topic of discussion with Maya. Till then, Allah Hafiz, and in end, as always, Pakistan Zindabad. And take care, all of you. Allah Hafiz.
As muckin. Oh, all right. Have a good one.